Welcome back, Boston Celtics fans, to another incredibly deep dive into the absolute most fascinating storylines surrounding the greatest basketball franchise in the world as we gear up for a legendary playoff run. We are officially skipping the long-winded introductions today and getting straight into the absolute most ridiculous and hilarious narrative currently floating around the national sports media landscape right now. The Boston Celtics absolutely did not have a completely flawless or entirely perfect regular season, because injuries and growing pains are an inevitable part of professional sports. But this current campaign honestly went about as perfectly as absolutely anyone in the front office could have ever possibly expected, especially when you heavily consider absolutely everything that was actively working against them the moment training camp officially started. Absolutely everyone in the national media and all the rival fan bases across the league truly thought the Celtics were just going to completely take this entire season off to rebuild their salary cap and retool their roster for the future. And yet, against all the massive odds and the overwhelming public doubt here, they are standing tall as the highly dominant number 2 overall seed in the brutally competitive Eastern Conference. Sure, there were definitely some minor disappointments scattered throughout the long, grueling winter months. But those specific disappointments were so incredibly minor and entirely inconsequential that it is absolutely not like the team truly suffered from them in any meaningful way on the court. In fact, this specific season went so unexpectedly smoothly, and the roster gelled so perfectly, that when Grant Hughes from Bleacher Report recently attempted to write a comprehensive article detailing the biggest mistakes made by every single contending team, he was forced to list a completely minor draft night decision as the absolute biggest regret for the Boston Celtics. Hughes officially stated that Boston, letting the highly limited opportunity to draft the young center Ryan Kalkbrenner completely slip through their fingers, was their absolute biggest organizational mistake of the entire year. Now, if you truly read the article and analyze the tone, even Hughes himself all but completely confirmed that he was absolutely grasping at microscopic straws when he specifically mentioned this incredibly minor draft day detail. He openly admitted in his writing that the absolute closest anyone can possibly come to successfully finding a legitimate regret regarding the current Boston Celtics season directly involves their specific second-round draft pick from the absolute most recent summer draft. And he even accurately noted even that incredibly tiny perceived mistake absolutely has to be viewed directly alongside the rousing massive success of the front office, brilliantly selecting the Spanish prodigy Hugo Gonzalez with the 28th overall pick, which was an absolute steal of a selection On that specific draft night, Boston officially took a young prospect named Noah Penda with the 32nd overall pick, and then they immediately traded him away, passing directly on players like Zion James and the aforementioned Ryan Kalkbrenner, who subsequently went 33rd and 34th overall respectively directly to the Charlotte Hornets organization. The main national argument here is that Kalkbrenner in particular would have theoretically been a massive physical boost to an otherwise potentially thin center rotation for Boston. Down in Charlotte, he has been statistically blocking an impressive 2.5 shots per 36 minutes of action, while also incredibly making a completely ridiculous 3/4 of his total field goal attempts. Right here in the absolute middle of this massive tactical breakdown of the Boston Celtics draft strategy. If you are truly enjoying our daily deep dives into the absolute best basketball coverage available anywhere, please take a quick second right now to passionately hit that subscribe button and leave a massive like on this video, because your continuous daily support is exactly what allows us to keep bringing you the most detailed tactical breakdowns on the entire internet without fail. Getting right back into the absolute absurdity of this supposed massive organizational regret, we really have to look at the actual reality of the Boston Celtics depth chart to be completely and entirely fair to the national media analysts. If the Boston frontcourt had actually proven to be a massive glaring issue throughout the regular season, passing on a highly productive rim protector absolutely would have been a legitimate problem that fans would complain about. However, the absolute heroic and completely dominant efforts of our current big men have entirely erased any need for another developmental rookie center. Neemias Queta has miraculously blossomed into an absolute defensive monster, anchoring the paint with massive authority. Garza has completely won over the hearts of the passionate fan base by providing massive scoring punches and relentless hustle off the bench. And the veteran Vucevic has expertly stepped into the rotation to provide brilliant high post passing and crucial rebounding experience. The combined highly productive efforts of those three specific players pretty much entirely erase the hypothetical need for someone like Kalkbrenner. We absolutely must acknowledge that Kalkbrenner has undeniably been an absolute stud, playing for a highly resilient Charlotte Hornets team this season, so this specific analysis is absolutely no slight or shot directed at him or his immense potential in the professional ranks. But looking at the situation objectively, it is pretty glaringly clear that the Boston Celtics simply had absolutely no immediate tactical use for him on their active roster. Besides, drafting him and officially bringing him onto the books would have directly and severely interfered with the absolute masterclass of salary cap manipulation that Brad Stevens and his brilliant executive team executed this season. As we have discussed in previous videos, one could easily and successfully argue that there was actually a massive amount of financial good to directly come from completely passing on that specific draft pick, because it successfully kept the organization exactly $11,000 below the highly punitive luxury tax line, allowing them to maintain massive financial flexibility for the future. The sheer undeniable fact that literally not acquiring Ryan Kalkbrenner is widely seen by the national media as the absolute biggest organizational mistake made by Boston, and the fact that doing so was completely not costly in the absolute slightest degree goes to aggressively show exactly how much Boston brilliantly turned the tables on absolutely everyone this year. So many loud critics completely thought that professional basketball life had violently turned the tables on the Celtics back in October when they made those massive salary dumping trades. But there was honestly a highly valid and completely logical reason for the media to naturally think that way at the time. You know what is honestly incredibly funny about this entire situation? From a pure raw individual talent perspective on paper, this specific roster was widely supposed to be the absolute weakest and most vulnerable Celtics team since their highly disastrous 2020 to 2021 season. And yet, despite all of that overwhelming external noise and lack of superstar depth, there is an incredibly solid and highly realistic chance that they will be marching right back into the National Basketball Association Finals very soon. It goes to completely and undeniably show the entire basketball world that a significantly large drop-off in pure individual roster talent actually can be entirely made up for and completely overcome when a professional organization has a deeply rooted and incredibly strong winning culture established in the locker room. The brilliant coaching of Joe Mazzulla, the unmatched leadership of Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown, and the absolute relentless next-man-up mentality of the entire supporting cast completely overrides any minor draft day decisions. Yes, Ryan Kalkbrenner would have probably been a very nice developmental piece to have sitting on the bench in Boston, learning the complex defensive system, but there is an incredibly massive and highly obvious reason why absolutely no one inside the Boston Celtics organization or within the passionate local fan base is losing even a single second of sleep over that specific skipped opportunity. The Boston Celtics are currently an absolute dominant machine heavily focused on securing Banner 19, and absolutely nothing is going to distract them from that ultimate historic goal.